Chapter 8 starts off relatively simple for once. We're told that the super force metal we obtained would take a lot of normal ass force metal to make, and told to head to the force metal refinement plant. We do the usual setting up, except we don't really buy any new weapons because our turbo buster is the best we've got so far. The only thing worth buying at this point is the water resist force metal. With our 5-minute shopping out of the way, we begin our assault on the Melda ore plant. So remember how I agonized over the desert area of Venalia Desert and Olfat Factory? Well, get ready for some more of that. Just kidding. But I will say that the Melda ore plant is by far my least favorite dungeon in the game. There's nothing super agonizing about this dungeon, it's just super short and boring for the most part. In fact, it's so short that I even completed it in one recording rather than 2 or 3 like most of the other dungeons. Even the encounters aren't enough to save this dungeon since most of them are just reskins of the most annoying enemies we've encountered so far. Anyways, Ferham and Scarface begin discussing how to set up the Rebellion Army's Minecraft server and how you can't make bedrock out of sand. During this conversation, Ferham then decides to get X's opinion on whether or not a Minecraft server would even be a good idea for the Rebellion and sets off to find them. The main objective of this dungeon is that you have to traverse each floor and peep through these holes in the wall to discover some weird metalwork machinery going on. I could make the obvious joke about there being holes in the wall, but I don't want this video to get age restricted. So we informed Goldiel of what we find, and he demands more pictures of these holes for his OnlyFans account. Each floor mostly has one path that's the correct path and one that's incorrect, usually with a bit of treasure at the end so that you don't feel scammed. That's really it. Find holes, send pictures, find more holes, send more pictures, you get the picture. Do this a few times until Goldiel is finally satisfied before figuring out that these holes point directly to a missile. So this kicks off the second half of the dungeon, which is just find the end of the dungeon and stop the missile. I'm not even kidding, there aren't really any puzzles here except a guessing game with our favorite ugly bastard Boto, who has returned not even 20 minutes later. He tells us that there are 2 keys to the warhead. One of them is on him, of course, while the other is on Ferham.
You don't know when to quit, do ya?
So we now have to do another refight with this asshole for his... Oh. Well, that was easy. Alright, let's just take it, and he's running away again. Yeah, so here's the really annoying part of the dungeon where Boto clones himself, shuffles all around, then bolts through separate doors. You have to pick the door the correct Boto ran off to and fight the qubits he leaves behind as he runs away again to the next floor. But if you guess wrong, you do have to fight that Boto clone. They're significantly weaker than the actual Boto we fought in Chapter 7, but they're still annoying to deal with. Luckily, I have special eyes and manage to pick correctly every time. Eventually, we chase Boto off into a locked room that we can't get into right now. Dang, just great. Luckily, in the only unlocked door we can access, our girl Ferham is here waiting for us. She plays coy and pretends she knew all along we were still alive, and then asks us the big question about setting up a Minecraft server. X thinks it's a great idea, that would make a great bonding experience for everyone, and asks to join too, to which Ferham agrees to give them access to it, but only if they defeat her in battle.
Don't be shy. Step right up.
And just like this terrible joke, Ferham also proved to be very much the same, a joke, which I only died twice to. The first time was because I wanted to analyze her bountiful assets to reveal that she in fact had a build hyper that needed to be stolen. So I threw for content, equipped item capture, mugged her, then died to an unexpected phase change and unlucky roll. In case you were wondering, my setup was Turbo Buster, Power Charge, and item capture for my main gear, with water resist to gain weapon energy +5, and analyzer for my force metals. I don't know why I didn't change out analyzer, I guess I was feeling pretty quirky that day. So, Ferham has 50,000 life energy, takes normal damage from fire, half from water, and 50% more from thunder. Her moveset consists of a standard strike that deals 1 hit of combat damage to a single target, Crimson Shade to create after images of herself that causes all her combat attacks to hit 2 additional times, Bloody Snake to deal combat damage to the entire party, Giga and Terror Blizzard, both water attacks that hit a single target, and Sonic Blizzard, supposedly a 3-hit water type attack damage that hits the entire party and can freeze, but I've only ever seen it hit once. Another instance of the Wikia being wrong, I guess. As long as you have a way to reduce her water attacks, like with water resist, and apply 2 boost armors as soon as possible, you're pretty much set for the entire fight. What really makes this fight trivial is the fact that she can be knocked out of Crimson Shade if you deal a total of 1800 accumulated damage to her, which is so easy to do at this point, it's not even funny. What is funny is that she constantly favors using Crimson Shade over any other move most of the time, giving you a ton of free turns for the first half of the fight. And before any of you ask, yes, this fight is as suggestive as you're thinking.
You like this? That feels good.
Okay, well, except for that ear-piercing scream she does. Anyways, don't be afraid to use life gain max here, since there aren't any gravity-based mechanics to worry about, thank fucking god. Honestly, the most dangerous attack to worry about is Terra Blizzard, since it still deals over 600 damage even with 50% water resistance. After finishing her off with the basic attack and lasting 54 turns, Ferham calls it quits, and I get a 20% XP bonus as my reward. After the fight, Ferham realizes that she forgot to take her insulin and passes out in the air, falling all the way down to the bottom floor. Zero, realizing that she forgot to give us the password to the Minecraft server before really passing out, speaks up, and so we make our way all the way to the bottom level of the missile silo. Yep, there's backtracking in this level. It's really annoying. On our way down, Boto looms over the fatigued Ferham, who's cursing herself for realizing she forgot to give us the Minecraft server password, so she asks Botos to give us server access in her stead, to which Botos kindly agrees and doesn't do anything weird and creepy like using the Minecraft server to open up the warhead to the missile and take all of the Superforce metal stuffed inside with the potential to turn every Reploid in the world Maverick all for himself, and thus betraying Epsilon and the Rebellion to fulfill his own ideals, only to be interrupted by a familiar voice behind him that startles him, and then later found dead by the party and the Superforce metal taken from the warhead anyway. Oh no, not at all. Upon reaching Ferham ourselves, she curses Botos for being a traitor and for stealing the password for the server and leaking all of the group Discord messages online. But all in all, Ferham seemed like a good sport and didn't seem all that evil, so we... Oh. Can we not help her? I mean, we have a med bay at base. We could literally heal her there. I have tank energy left. I can just heal her myself if we gotta. Are we... okay, we're just gonna leave her to her fate, I guess. Kinda harsh if you ask me. I suppose it makes sense, since we are forced to come all the way down here, only to have to go all the way back up where we literally just were. Hell, even X sounds annoyed at this point.
Okay, let's find him.
So heading back up again, we eventually reach the warhead only to find Botos' dead shell of a body and the Superforce metal missing. To be serious for a second, this is kind of a funny little play on the whole the lackey is actually the true villain trope some games like to do. From the get-go, you know Botos is up to something when he drops his Superforce metal, which then leads to you tracking down the Melda or plan and weakening one of the cadres enough for him to seize his opportunity to take their key to the warhead so that he can have all the Superforce metal to himself instead. He even mocks Epsilon's ideals and only wants the Superforce metal to become stronger than anyone else. Normally this would lead him to overthrow Epsilon or reveal himself after you beat him or something, but nah. He just sort of, dies. To our good old friend Spider, no less. I would say that's spoilers, but come on.
I think you might be onto something.
Same voice, same arm, who else could it be? Anyways, after all that plays out, the mission finally ends, and we can move on to bigger and better things.